citizens, the people and state of Sandus, our friends and allies, and any other micronationalist or person listening to this address. Today marks the 5th anniversary of the state of Sandus, the creation of modern Sandus, and the creation of our nation in its entirety. On the 26th of May 2009, Sandus was created as Sandefrestican, a country that declared its independence from the Republic of Trinwa. In Sandus today, 5 years after that date, we commemorate the history of our country. The first 2 years of Sandus's existence was tumultuous. There were 6 different regimes that could not affirm the people's sovereignty and the people's legitimacy. But 3 years since the foundation of the state of Sandus, Sandus has become a strong and powerful nation with a philosophy rooted in its very existence as a state. Our philosophy guides us. It gives us a vision. And these past 5 years have been a testament not only to the political will of our country, but also a testament to the strength of our philosophy. In Sandus, we recognize that all people suffer. And this is a philosophy that has been created in the past 5 years. Our philosophy today, our vision, and the work that our government does is essential to the lives of many citizens across the state. I know in my life, the state of Sandus is an example of my lifestyle, my livelihood. In Buddhism, we believe that being a monk is the highest form of practice, that practicing the philosophy can be done primarily and most heartfully, most sincerely, most strongly with a person becoming a monk or a nun. In Buddhism, we've tried to encapture this lifestyle of peace, to make it accessible to people in their daily lives. In Sandus, we have created a vision that recognizes on the first hand that we are bound by suffering, that each and every one of us suffers. The reason why this revelation is important for this anniversary is that because it encaptures everything that Sandus has ever existed for. In Sandefrestigan, the Grand Lamed of Sandefrestigan, which was established on this anniversary, the 26th of May 2009, the Grand Lamed was a direct revelation, a direct ascendant of the word Lama, which is teacher. The people's state of Sandus held firm to the true belief in socialism, but it also inspired and brought into Sandus our Roman and classical distinctions. This was the time period of Romanization, where we shortened the name of Sandus, the name Sandefrestigan, and we made it Sandus. That in itself was Romanization. But on the 21st of December of that year, 2009, we created the barony of Sandus. The first barony was created with much controversy, because to many other peoples, Sandus was firmly in the helm of the Democratic People's Republic of Eurasia, a micronation at that time which is very infamous to this day. On the 21st of December, Sandus held firm to its belief in its independence and into the right of Sandus to determine its own path. In April of 2010, we created the Democratic People's Republic of Sandus. Now that regime has much history, and it's still relevant to this time period today, because that period saw some of the greatest ideological fighting that has shaped the careers of so many micronationalists and former micronationalists. It has certainly shaped my career as Sôgmô. When Eurasia fell as a micronation in August of 2010, Sandus went on hiatus. It was sad to see our great partner, and indeed, by that point, it was our great partner. We were independent, and we held firm to the belief in our sovereignty. But by that point, we knew that times had changed. In October and in September, we created the second barony of Kremlin Sandus. But that government soon fell. It had a beautiful constitution, hundreds of articles. It had a wonderful system of government, beautifully written. But it was too much work. We recognized that system of government would collapse because it would only lead to inactivity, because there were not enough people to fulfill the requirements set forth by that constitution. That's when we became the territory of Sandus, a member of the St. Charlian Commonwealth. We weren't sovereign at that point. We were essentially a colony of the Federal Republic of St. Charlie. But that is a point where we had much cultural development, where we reflected on ourselves, because we realized diplomacy, diplomatic affairs, is something that keeps us from focusing on our state. When we gave up our diplomacy, when we gave up foreign relations, we turned inwards on our own state. And we do this, and the reason why this is important for Sandus today is because we do this. We do this every winter season. We give up our diplomacy after the Armillastrium. We go into isolation, and we reflect on our state, and we see what can be changed. We see what we can develop. This is the history of Sandus before the state of Sandus. The state of Sandus has existed for 3 years. 3 years compared to the 2 years that these 6 regimes inhabited. The state of Sandus is the regime of Sandus currently, and it is one of the strongest regimes that I'm sure that many other micronationalists know. It is not a regime built on any system, any written constitution as the barony of Kremlin Sandus, but it harkens back to the very recognition that we have limited time as people in our daily lives, that we need to meet activity, we need to have activity, and that we need to accomplish things pragmatically. We need real change. We don't need ideology. We don't need things that necessarily divide us. But we need something that can capture the vision of Sandus. Something that can bring us together. And certainly this regime, this government of Sandus has. In this speech I've just given you, I've gone over the history of Sandus. And with that, you can understand why this 5th anniversary is so important. Very few micronations live past their first few months. Very few. The fact that Sandus has gotten to its status, its 5th anniversary. 5 years we have existed. And there are many micronations that have existed longer than ours. But very few micronations, and this will sound patriotic and nationalistic, but very few micronations have the sort of system that we do. But that sort of nationalism is good. When I was discussing with, well, now he is a current Renasian citizen, when I was discussing with Jacob Tierney a few years ago, a few months ago perhaps, we discussed how we can change nationalism for the better, how we can change patriotism. So it's not a love of one's country because you're born into it, but it's a love for the accomplishments you have made. And that is what Sandus is doing when it celebrates its 5th anniversary. It's not a love of being disunified from other people. It's not a love of being exclusive of other people. We're inclusive. We love people no matter of their race, ethnicity, religion, sex, gender, sexuality, class. I can't say politics, especially because Sandus is a socialist nation. But we love all those people, and we ask them to come to Sandus with the specific intent to follow the philosophy that we set forth. We all suffer, but we can do something to change that, not only in our personal lives, but in the world around us. And that is what Sandus is doing. And that is the path that Sandus has created in these past 5 years. With that, I would like to wish each and every one of you a happy Sandum Independence Day, the day of creation, and happy 5 years of Sandus. Thank you.